Hello and welcome to the Pickup WNBA podcast. I'm your host, Catherine Niker.
And I'm your other host, Freddie Rivas. What's up, everybody?
And this is episode 144, baby.
Yes, it is. And now is the perfect time, my friends, to become a subscriber on all of our very important social media channels at the Pickup WNBA podcast, Instagram, and YouTube. Subscribe, like, review, perhaps. Spotify, iTunes, that really helps too. And shout out to anyone who's filled out. We have this ACAST survey, which is for advertisers, which is how anyone is getting a buck truly in this world of podcasting. So the more specified it can be to our listeners, I think the better for everybody. But yeah, let's talk playoffs. We are in the second round. Things are beautiful.
Yes, and we're also like upping our social media content lately. So we're posting random things that are happening throughout the week. If you see any like purple text on our Instagram stories, that's my personal reactions to those events. So definitely follow us. That's all happening on Instagram. So you get more than just the pod following us now. So that's what makes it important.
Yes. Yes. And also I'm gonna start doing more polls because I love a good poll. So if you have any poll ideas, hit me and I'll do it.
Mm. That's great. You also on your personal Instagram do random polls
I do random
that I
polls.
feel are very popular. Like I feel
They're
like they get a lot of traction.
honestly, I have to like pace them out because my phone blows up. Uh and just so our audience knows like sort of what I'm talking about here, I call them pensive polls.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so like the first one that kicked it all off was like zippers versus buttons. Uh, let me tell you, that was a blowout for zippers. Uh, Salt versus pepper, another blowout for salt. Glasses
Sure.
contacts was a massacre for glasses.
Oh, people
Uh,
don't like glasses?
no, they love glasses.
Oh,
Contacts was
for glasses,
15%.
sorry. When you said
But you know,
when you said
anyways,
massacre for glasses, I just imagined glasses like smashed to the ground. Like
no,
they
yeah,
were
they were smashing the contacts.
yeah, I got it.
But yeah, you know, good stuff. Morning shower versus evening shower was pretty tight. Morning shower did win, but
Pretty
yeah, we got
That's
some
because
really
you know comedians. I think like a lot of non-comedians are like, "What is wrong with you people? We shower in the morning like adults."
yeah dogs
But
versus
anyway.
cats. I got like basically like hate mail. It was so nuts.
Well, hey, you know what? Maybe some off-season content, some off-season polls. That'd be fun. I think
Yeah.
that's fun content to keep us going throughout the year. Okay, let's get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Do it.
You know what? I want to talk about this Lynx Mercury series here because we didn't really get to predict this one last week as the first round was still wrapping up, but we were chatting with each other. We were immediately like, I think this is going to go 5. And so far so good on this series. I think the Mercury had won a historic comeback
Historic,
in game
easily the
2.
game of the second round. Easily.
Yeah, like I think it was like they had the third biggest comeback in WNBA playoff history. So absolutely huge. My sort of observation with the Mercury right now is that they are, again, I think I said this last week, one of the best team defenses, all around team defenses I've ever seen. Their team defense is just so on point. It's so textbook. Like people should study it. It's so good. However, I
Ooh, love a
do
good however.
I it looks exhausting. You know what I mean? And like after game 1, there was already talk about fatigue for this team going into game 2, and they were able to pull through, and now, that all the teams have had 2 days off. So we'll see how that impacts everybody. But I just wonder, against a team as good as the Lynx, if this level of defense is going to be truly sustainable.
Hmm.
That's
That's
my big thing with them right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. One thing I'm really interested in general with this playoffs is uh the extended playoffs, right? So the second round is the same, but you've added well, I guess really you've essentially just like added um the 7-game series to the finals, but that's a potential extra 2 games in the playoff run, and it was a longer regular season. They added 2 games again. So I feel like there's a lot more attrition going on, and there still isn't that roster expansion. Like, I'm looking at the Mercury game, right, which was so massive, like 22 points to 14 points in the third quarter, and then 25 points, 17 points in the fourth, and then obviously they sort of just took it home in the OT. But that is wild for like they had an 8-player rotation the entire game,
Mm, mm.
and that like no one is even popping in for a breather. So yeah, Catherine Westbeld played the least amount of minutes for the Mercury, and she played 14 minutes. So you got Alyssa Thomas 42 minutes,
That's a
Satu
lot.
Satu Sabali, like, almost 40, Copper 32, like, and these are 10-minute quarters, right? So that means they're playing pretty much the entire game.
Well, Alyssa Thomas played more than a full game.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, it's an overtime game, but anyways, yeah, so that attrition aspect is really intense. You brought up, I missed this in my watching of the game, but you brought up that, um, Phoebus actually broke a rib and
Fractured.
or sorry, fractured a rib and came back in the game.
And for game 3, yeah, so it came out so in game 3, Leonie Fiebish,
Game 2.
no, this is the Liberty. Hold on, let's pause.
Let me jump in with a question about the Lynx, which is, are you scared at all? If you're the Lynx, like the Mercury has whatever they're pushing them, and that was a very historic comeback, and they lost a
Mm.
game at home. But the Lynx, they seem very poised still, even though they lost in overtime, and you know, like in sort of like a somewhat embarrassing fashion.
I agree, they do still seem poised. I think sometimes, great teams like this need a little bit of a shakeup, right? I think games like this help the Lynx to not get comfortable or rest on their laurels, so to speak. Not to suggest they've been doing that, but games like this, I think, can actually be help a team instead of hurt them. Like I think, like when the Liberty lost to the Mercury, I believe it was game 2, and it was like such a blowout. It kind of felt like a demoralizing loss. Where like this loss, it was so competitive, so tight. There's nothing demoralizing about it. And kind of like what I was saying earlier, like my real thing with the Mercury right now is this level of intensity really sustainable for them? I think the Lynx have been on a bit of a revenge tour all season long.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk about the MVP in a minute, but like it just feels like the championship has been the sole focus. Like I mean, I know we tend to make NBA comparisons on here. Not everybody loves that, but it did remind me of the San Antonio Spurs after they lost to the Miami Heat, and then they came back and won the following year. And it just felt like that whole year was just a revenge tour, a sole focus on one goal, a hive mind of a team, if you will. And I just feel like the Lynx are just so much in that zone. Also, too, okay, this is very random. Freddie, you're going to love this. So every once in a while at night, I'm browsing on Etsy. We know what Etsy is, right?
Oh, we know what FT is. We know what a late night browse is all about.
So sometimes I'll just search random things, and the other day I just searched like WNBA. Like I wonder what fan merch people are making out there. And instead of everyone watches women's sports, that t-shirt, somebody made everyone watched the Lynx get robbed. Because that's how
Incredible.
strongly a lot of fans feel about what happened in the finals last year. I mean, I don't personally feel that way, but I but the Lynx and their fan base and that team have just had that kind of energy with them all year long. I don't think this game 2 is going to discourage them at all. If anything, I think it's going to add fuel to the fire for them. And I mean, I love everything about this series. I think it's going to go the distance. I'm really, really excited.
And just back to Mercury as well. If you have a team with Copper and Thomas and Bonner, you're also just like you're not an easy out, and you're not going to be rattled
No,
at all. Phoenix had a great
no.
year, and they they lost 82-69, so technically they've I guess through the course of the two games been outplayed, but equal amount of quarters won. So Phoenix has won 4
Hmm.
quarters in the series, and well, I guess if you count OT, Phoenix has won more quarters than the Lynx. So
Right.
they've won 5 quarters, and the Lynx have won 4. So if you're Phoenix, you're right in this, I would say. And but yeah, I mean you got to go with the poise and the depth of the Lynx overall.
Yeah, I love how much I feel like Phoenix in a weird way. Maybe it's just my own bias. I don't know because I do love Phoenix, but I feel like they've embraced almost like a villain edit. like like
Oh,
they want to be
100%.
those villains. They want to be that spoiler. And actually, we'll pocket this for a future episode, Freddie. But back in the day when there was this podcast, Jalen and Jacoby, Jalen Rowe shout out, came up with this your top 5 dark alley team. So it's like if
Mhm.
you're in a dark alley and someone approaches you, who are the 5 players you want on your side? And I was thinking about the W version for that, and I immediately thought of Alyssa Thomas.
1,000%.
Right, she's just on my dark alley team. Probably Brittany Griner as well. Like, I haven't thought of the full 5. I think Brittany Griner is a Hall of Fame, top 5 dark alley player.
Yeah, Alyssa
I
Thomas, I
But
mean,
Alyssa Thomas is there for me.
I
So,
don't know if this is like if this is a hot take, but I'd say that she's the single toughest player in the league.
I mean, she definitely has that energy. She carries herself as so. Like, we can't that I agree. It's probably a very difficult thing to measure. She absolutely carries herself as the toughest person in the league. Yeah. Maybe future FFQ, like future Freddy's Fun Question.
Mhm.
That's like really fun off-season content for us. Maybe we can put a pin in that for later. Who's our top 5 dark alley teams?
I like it.
Thank you.
Should we
Uh
move on to a series that has not been that is tied, but both games just complete blowouts?
Yeah, let's move on to Fever Aces. I mean, obviously, the Fever taking game 1 was a shock to everyone, and maybe even including them. I don't know if you saw the Becky Hammond press conference after the fact, but she was like, clearly, we didn't have an answer for Kelsey Mitchell. And it was like funny the way she said it because I couldn't tell if that was like a self accountability comment or an overall team comment. Eh, I the clip that I saw didn't necessarily give it that nuance, but buddy, did they not make those adjustments? My goodness. Like, they made those adjustments so hard that it's difficult to see the Fever really coming back from this. Like, at this point, I would be shocked if this series went 5 games, even though it's tied. Like, that blowout felt massive to me.
It's weird how yeah, like if you're just like we're talking about a little bit about this before the episode, but if you're a stat watcher, if you're a box score person,
Mm,
there's so much of the game and the feel and the understanding of momentum that you miss.
mm,
And by the point I'm making is that blowouts, close games are not created equal. The first blowout was not the same as the second blowout.
mm,
The second blowout was very much had the tone of I figured you out.
mhm.
I'm done playing with my food, and you're done. Like like the rest of the series is a formality. Like we're gonna crush you. That said, uh, two fairly incorrect takes. I've made a bunch of wrong takes this year, but two fairly
Okay.
incorrect recent takes I've made. One was the Becky Hammon sort of like doubting her as a coach. So I'll just say that she's the best. She's incredible. She's amazing. Another one was doubting the Fever so hard. So when this series started, or when the playoffs started, I wrote them off. Then when the series started, I wrote them off. Now after this blowout, I want to write them off. So I'm just gonna press the brakes for a second
Yeah.
and say that give them some love for what they did in game 1. They won a game in Vegas. Mitchell was unstoppable. She's 5th in MVP voting. We'll get to awards later. She's incredible. The Fever are, they're just a weird story of this playoffs. And like, I think, it's kind of just the injuries, and specifically Caitlin Clark, like everyone's idea of what this team is supposed to be is tied to Caitlin Clark. So to see them thriving without her, and for anyone listening, make no mistake, I think they're a better team with Caitlin Clark, like much better. But they're a very good team without Caitlin Clark, and they have very good players without Caitlin Clark. And this is basketball. You play with who you have, and you play the opponent that you have. Like watching like Mitchell handling the ball that much, like when Caitlin does come back next year, they're gonna have to figure some stuff out, because they like, if I'm a Fever fan, the franchise is Caitlin, but I want the ball in Mitchell's hands way more than it was
Mm.
when Caitlin was on the court.
Well, that's gonna be a challenge because Caitlin Clark is pretty ball heavy.
She's ball heavy, but
Yeah.
she needs to figure out how to defer, or just minutes wise, right? They need to like
Sure.
give some opportunity for Kelsey to run the show. Like she should like drop into that Chelsea Gray kind of like
Mm.
point guard, like, maybe not the nominal point guard, but just like 5-10 minutes a game where she's the go-to scoring option, and she's the ball handler.
Um, I think you made a lot of great points. Going back to a bit earlier though, see, I feel like in the moment when we were critical of Becky Hammon, it was completely valid. Right?
Yes.
So it wasn't like, I don't recall us ever saying she was a quote unquote bad coach. What I recall saying was that it felt like, obviously as a complete outsider, it felt like she was losing the locker room. And
Yeah, and it did. Yeah.
right? So I don't think we should regret that, because I think, like, again, from an outside perspective, I think all of that was completely valid. I think you, me, and virtually every follower of the WNBA doubted the Fever going into the playoffs. Like, we are not the only ones. Like, literally, like every ESPN analyst, who are all fantastic, everybody doubted the Fever going into the playoffs. I think the Fever have achieved so much in these playoffs, even if they don't win a single game for the rest of the duration, although maybe they will. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not fully saying they won't, but they've achieved so much. I think in the grand scheme of things, them losing Caitlin Clark this season, I think could very much be a lemons into lemonade situation, where they got to reach their depth more and figure out who they really have without her. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And I think this is going to benefit them greatly next season. And I might, like, not to fast forward too far into the future, we'll see how we feel about things April, May. I think they're going to be a title favorite going into next year because of all the playoff experience and the resiliency and the adversity that they've gone through this season, and that they are
Mhm.
still this good. So I look at this situation with the Fever, even though we've doubted them in the short term, by no means am I doubting them in the long term. And I think Stephanie White has proven, not that she didn't not that she needed to, has proven so much what an excellent coach she is.
She has
So
coached the hell out of this team.
she has coached the hell out of this team, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons why I believe the Aces are going to run away with the rest of the series, obviously it'd be great to be wrong because I love rooting for an underdog, but I think one of the reasons why is because the Fever have so few players available to them. There's only so many adjustments they can possibly make. Right? So the Aces have adjusted to what their game plan was, and I don't know. We're going to find out Friday night if they have a real punchback, because with so few players available, what else could they possibly throw at this team? I wait to see it. I can't wait to see it, but it looks like it'll be really hard to do. The one thing I can think of is maybe they try to get Aaliyah Boston more involved offensively. Like, she's been doing so great defensively, and she obviously has a huge task in defending Asia Wilson. So I don't even know how possible that is or what her bandwidth is. But that's maybe the one area where I'm like, if you get her the ball more, that's an area where you can possibly drive some offense that you aren't necessarily getting a whole lot of right now.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Sweet. We got to talk about some coach firings. And then we got to talk about awards. Do you want to do awards first?
I think let's go to the coach firings because
we like to end on a high note.
Yeah, Noelle Quinn, not a surprise, right? Sort of like been hearing rumblings there.
Not a surprise.
I should say, yeah, like, do you have anything to sort of say about that besides kind of like Seattle had a disappointing year for...
Well, they had a disappointing year. They also had a disappointing last year, right? So this is like such a great team, and they've had 2 disappointing first round exits, both against the Aces, which of course is unfortunate.
And like solid
roster, super tight ratio between getting into the playoffs and literally being like second, right? Like, it was super tight, but I think they probably need somebody to help get them over the edge. It seems like they need somebody to help shake it off, like shake it up. Sorry. I don't think Noelle Quinn's a bad coach by any means, but it's possible they just need a new voice and a new perspective. So on that front, I'm not surprised either. The Sandy Brondello firing, interesting. Should I get into it?
Get into it. Yeah.
So they were asked about this at the press conference immediately after the Liberty were eliminated from the playoffs. And Stewie kind of said, "The fuck?" in the microphone, like so confused and baffled by the question. I don't think this came from the players at all. Sandy Brondello has proven to be a great coach. Obviously, they won the championship last year. She also made it to the finals with the Mercury, not the year before that. She has a great history, but also just a great recent history. And this team was injured almost the entire season as well. They were injured during this playoff series against the Mercury, right? Like, Stewie went down in game 1, overtime, came back in game 2, was not herself, right? Was able to gut it out in game 3. That's a huge loss to not have Stewie at 100%. And then in game 3, you had Leonie Fevich go down. She came back later in the game, but it was later revealed she had a fractured rib, that there was an x-ray that revealed she had a fractured rib, and she came back into the game anyways. I mean, my goodness. And she wasn't herself for the rest of that game either. Jonquel Jones struggled in that series, but really, this wasn't coaching. And I think the Liberty have a lot of audacity to fire her so abruptly. Cheryl Reeves spoke out about this, the Lynx head coach. She said that, Sandy Brondello is an excellent coach, and, high praise, of course, because Cheryl Reeves is maybe the GOAT of the league in terms of coaches. If not, she's got to be up there, right? So I just feel like this firing is a bit ridiculous. possibly short-sighted. I don't doubt that she will land on her feet. Maybe even in Seattle, she might be an excellent fit,
Mhm.
actually, for Seattle. But one thing Cheryl Reeve said, which I thought was super interesting and intriguing for us, is that she said if you are Seattle, Toronto, or Portland, you were just gifted a hell of a coach. I couldn't agree with that more, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear an announcement within the next month or so of where Sandy Brondello will end up next. And I think she will have some choices. I think she will be gifted choice.
I agree 1,000%. And Becky Hammond also spoke on this, and
Mm,
I feel like she's, to me, hit the nail on the head as far as like this is. I don't know if she used the word scapegoat, but it's just
mm. But it is
you
though,
yeah,
yeah.
she spoke to this idea of scapegoating, and Becky spoke how, Cheryl Reeve is sort of like, this is what it should be like. It should be like, if you find a good coach, like, it's not like you have to win a championship every year, or they're fired. To me, it's yeah, really unnecessary, and I don't doesn't make yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. Other like even from like Liberty fans, like I can't imagine that there was like even a thrust or like a want for this.
I saw
Like,
some comments about her being
oh,
fired.
okay.
But you know what? I think they're casuals.
Yeah, because anyone who followed the league was just sort of like they were banged up all year. Like, I didn't see
Yeah.
anything in my watching of the Liberty that was like similar to the Storm, or hey man,
Mm,
even the Aces earlier in the year. I was sort of like, what's going on, right?
mm.
But like the Liberty was just like, oh, you're super injured. Like, for me, if you're a Liberty fan, if you're a Fever fan, it's like everyone's done a great job. You've just been super injured.
Mm,
Like, it's not that complicated.
mhm.
Other teams have, there's things that have gone wrong or whatever. But yeah, to me, the Liberty is just like, you're awesome. Things are great. You just are so injured, and also like the timing of the injuries was rough too.
As well, I saw a really interesting take online today, about are we harsher on female coaches than male coaches, based on who lost their job. I don't know if that's true, but I thought it was an interesting perspective because if you look at the Atlanta Dream, they had a disappointing ending to their season, right? Like, and they were in the they were third, right? Like they were third in the league and they lost in the first round. That's a clear upset,
Mm-hmm.
but Smesko remains. And I'm not
Basketball.
Smesko ball, and I'm not saying he shouldn't remain. Like I'm not pro firing coaches as frequently at all, but it was just an interesting perspective. Again, like I'm not saying I don't think the world is that black and white. But thought I'd throw it out there as a thought exercise that maybe could be explored down the road as we learn more. We'll see.
It's all that. I mean, the that's like, misogyny is always a
It's
fair.
everywhere.
It's
It's
always a
everywhere.
fair lens. There's never a place where it is completely absent. So I think it's always a question. It's always a consideration. Same with, racism. It's like those are,
Absolutely.
they're just so prevalent, and
Mhm.
you can't really tease them out from anything.
Mm.
Uh, what I will say, and this isn't even a rebuttal, but I will say that I think there's, at least in these scenarios, there's like an expectation thing. Like, in Atlanta was not expected to be good this year. So I think the
That's
Liberty
fair.
expected to win a championship. The Storm I mean, yeah, but then again, yeah, the Storm were, I don't think they were expected to win a championship, but they did sort of flame out. So that, then my argument's already sort of fall. Like, if Quinn's fired, then why isn't Smesko fired? But yeah, um,
I just think teams jump the gun on this stuff way too quickly.
big time.
And yeah, anyway. Okay, let's talk awards finally.
Great.
MVP Asia Wilson, congratulations. I think super well deserved. I think she absolutely took this award. really, it was she took this award all season long, but it was the Aces team record, and that historic run that they went through in the later half of the season that
Yeah.
really sealed the deal. We were talking about it mid-August about how this
This is
narrative
something I did call.
total you absolutely called this. This narrative shifted drastically immediately. You called it. I agreed. We were on top of it. Um and also too, like, really loved the whole like video that they did and how they presented it to her, and Bam Adebayo presenting it. One thing I stumbled upon too that I think is just a fun anecdote for our listeners is Dwayne Wade was talking about their relationship, I guess, in a sense, at the Olympics last year. He's talking to Bam just about Asia as like a hooper and how great she is. And Bam was just like, man, my trophy case is nothing compared to hers. Like, I could never, like, I will never be able to match her trophy case. Like, he's like, my trophy case is like high school, like, best player in like my state kind of thing. And like, Asia's got so many like best player in the world stuff. But I love to see it because I love to see a supportive man, supporting a woman just achieving at the highest level of everything. I just love to see it.
Him him being there when the award was presented to her, beautiful.
Yeah, it was truly beautiful, and like her genuine emotions like made me cry.
Yeah.
I'm possibly hormonal, but they still made me cry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the only, four-time winner.
Only
Uh,
four-time winner. Um, and yeah, truly well deserved. And like, I was like big on Nafisa Collier. She's gonna win MVP this year. I was calling it since February. Honestly, I have no regrets. I think she was playing the best basketball of her life. And I saw it in Unrivaled, and that's why I called it so early. I was like, she's gonna have a career year. And she really did. I mean, she was injured in those for those few weeks in August when the Aces were really able to take this and run with it. I also think too, something that's interesting is that the Aces as a team were campaigning hard for Asia
mhm.
in a way, at least on my social media, did not see the links campaigning for Nafisa Collier's MVP. And I actually think that had a huge part to do with the momentum
It
of
certainly
this
did, yeah.
award. But I also feel like I think I believe that the links collectively decided not to do that. Or it was Nafisa's wish for the team not to do that. I think she was like, nope, my focus is on a championship. And they have just been about that and nothing else the whole year, right? It's like the last game of the season, they gave out pink wigs to the crowd for the stud buds and their amazing contributions. They weren't giving out MVP signs for Nafisa Collier, right? Like she's also adopted having a bit of pink in her hair as well. And I think Kayla McBride and like a few teammates have kind of embraced that as well. It has been about the team for the Lynx this year. And I think they wanted to make that clear. I feel like sometimes your silence speaks, right? And I think their lack of campaign was really about them focusing on a championship. And I
Yeah,
think I think that had a lot to do with the narrative this year, personally.
really, really interesting take. So a couple things. I both feel that campaigning for awards is like just kind of the name of the game
Mm.
and also sort of tacky.
Mhm.
And I really like that point about the links, and way back to an earlier point you made in the pod. They are on a revenge tour, a la, Spurs, when they lost to the Heat and just came back and decimated the Heat. And this is really sort of like deep nerdy sports stuff, but that Spurs team was called they're called like Tiki Taka, which is how Spain played soccer at that time in the world. And Spain was just like everything was crisp passing, and the
Mm.
team was more than the player, and it was just like all about like team dominance. The Spurs had that. The Lynx have that. And I really think this sort of plays into like who Cheryl Reeve is and
Mm.
who the Lynx are, and how, I mean, that first win, Courtney Williams was asked about uh like what it feels like to sort of like let other players thrive, and just um kind of spoke to the bench, like being a starter not mattering that much for the Lynx. Like
Mhm.
really everything is about winning. So I mean, yeah, it completely tracks with Fee not prioritizing like being campaigned for. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on is that my favorite style of competition is when someone gets beat. Like Fee didn't lose the MVP. She she got beat. Like there's a difference to me. Asia Wilson came and took it. And I think that
Yeah,
Fee is
absolutely.
like Fee had an MVP year. Like she deserved to be MVP. Period. And then Asia Wilson was like, "You deserve it. You've earned it. This is your moment, but I'm gonna do some goat stuff and I'm gonna come and take it."
Just
Like that
all-timer shit,
like
hands
that
down.
that to me is like when sports are the best, and it's not just like it's so it could have just easily been like, oh, the Aces sort of floundered, Asia has wild stats, but the Lynx, best team, best player sort of thing. And it's like, no, 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 no. This got really, really interesting. And I just want to shout out some other uh players on the MVP board. So like obviously Wilson and Collier were fairly tight. So they do voting like 1 through 5. And yeah, so Asia had 657 and Fee had 534. Thomas ended with 391. So Thomas was like in the mix and got a lot of votes.
Mhm,
And then
mhm.
there's a big drop off, but shout out to Alicia Gray, number 4, Kelsey Mitchell, number 5. And then after that, it's just like very, very sporadic votes. And one of the things I love the most is when, because you wonder who gets the votes or whatever, but there's a couple things where you're like, what? So like Rakea, I just love this. Rakea Jackson got a vote. It's like, what's going on there? Um, Veronica Burton got a vote, and it's like, okay, like listen, these are great players who had great seasons, but it's like, what are you doing? This is weird. But one person on this list where I was like, wow. And again, there's the injuries part, but just major thing that I'm gonna keep an eye on is Stewie got 1 vote.
Mm.
So Jackie Young got more MVP votes than
I
Stewie.
think injury had a lot to do with that, though.
Yeah, and I guess it's just that simple, but it's really sort of like in my mind, like I have this like sort of like the current like Rushmore sort of for the league is still like it's like Wilson, Fee, Thomas, Stewie, and I
Mm.
think that that's true heading into next year. Like if I had to say like okay, first team All WNBA next year, it's those 4 and some other person.
Yeah, probably Clark,
So
maybe Ionescu.
yeah, I mean, maybe Clark, maybe Gray, maybe
Yeah,
whatever, Mitchell,
but
but yeah, I
that
think
guard spot's up for grabs.
the guard spot's up for
Yeah,
grabs. Exactly. Could be Sabrina.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Do you wanna should we do some other awards here?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, my opinions were hard on the MVP stuff. I don't have a lot of hot takes on the other awards.
You know what I'm gonna say, which is that Gray should have won most improved.
Yes.
So that's my big
I was
thing.
wondering if
Uh
you were, like, disappointed about that or not.
yeah, I mean, I just like she got enough votes to be in third, but just I wonder sometimes if a player when they go from good to great, if they sort of don't get that same sort of
Consideration,
whereas like
especially if
Burton,
she was 4th in MVP voting too, so it's like maybe her
yeah, and she'll be
accomplishments were
first
kind
team
of
all
split across the board.
yeah, exactly. Like maybe I'm just sort of talking myself into it being okay. But yeah, I just feel like it's one of those things where it's like, but I think she just improved the most. But I mean, whatever. Like Burton totally deserves it as well, and went from being like someone we weren't talking about to someone who like needs to be talking about.
Yep.
Uh, the other one is we did talk about it a little bit, but Coach of the Year. I mean, I'm happy for Natalie Nikasi. Is it Nikasi?
Natalie, I thought it was Akase. Natalie Akase.
Oh, the N silent. Fair enough.
That's how I've heard it pronounced.
Fair enough. But yeah, this like it was a blowout, and then Smesko was in two. Hammond and Reeve were sort of they got 2 votes each. Uh, that's interesting to me. Like I thought there was like, you think about Steph White for the Fever. Like no love. Like you did a really good job. You know what I mean?
Maybe it is Nakase. Can we pause?
Sure. Yeah. So Coach of the Year, Natalie Nakase is like was a blowout win, which is sort of weird to me. Smesko got some votes, and Becky and Cheryl Reeve were tied for 2 votes each, and like no votes for Steph White. I thought she did a really good job. And yeah, I don't know. It seemed to me, I mean, like, what about Nate Tibbetts?
Yeah,
Like,
I thought Nate Tibbetts
you know
would
what I'm
have
saying?
gotten
Like,
more Coach of the Year love. I'll be honest.
but whatever. I mean, I think it was like one of those things where it's like deserving, but I wouldn't mind more of like a narrative challenge there. And then if it's okay if I move on, the other award, which executive of the year is always a little bit like I don't care enough. However, this is the only 3-time winner since this award started, Dan Padover, for the Dream, and his previous 2 wins were for the Aces 2020 and 2021. So
Okay, well,
this
Buddy's got it going on.
yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly. I was like, that is a serious like, okay, this guy can make teams. Because like if you think about what the Aces did in 2020 and 2021, it's like, oh, holy shit, this guy, if
He
you're the
built a
Dream,
dynasty.
you built the dynasty. Exactly. So if you're the Dream, you're like, this is nice.
Wow. I've never cared about that award, but that is an interesting point.
Right?
Freddie, for time's sake, I think we gotta move to the FFQ, yeah?
We gotta do it.
Okay, let's go. FFQ time.
Listen, Don Staley, cornhole. Um, Google it if
Just
you're like,
saying
what
it
the
like
fuck?
that is so funny.
That's all the people need to know. Just check it out. We all need a side quest in life,
Mm.
right? And for the non-video game people, it's like you got your main quest, the things that you're doing, but you need a side quest. You need something that is
Mm.
that you're working on. And my FFQ to us, Catherine, what is your side quest?
Yeah, I love this question so much because I do enjoy video games, and Zelda has a lot of side quests in it. But I need a second to simmer on this, so I'd like you to go first.
Okay, I have a pretty comfy one for this because as a comedian,
Mm.
they do so many things related to comedy. So like none of those are it's like they're all part of the same quest. So anything that is like towards my like performing comedy career, performing
Mm.
elements, whatever, even as a clown, as a performer. So like that's all main quest. It's all main quest. So side quest for me, uh I love I love chess. And I play a
You
lot of
love
chess.
chess?
That's right.
Okay.
And I play a lot of chess. I played a little bit growing up, but I was never like part of a team or anything like that. And I've never been particularly good. I'm like better than the average person, but like if I play against people who like play chess, like and are like whatever, like have played in any form of competitive level, they like decimate me. But that doesn't stop me from having this like weird dream of thinking that like
Like, of being a
I
chess champion.
yeah, and like it's funny because it's like it's one of those things that it's being like a chess master is as unrealistic as me saying that I can still make the NBA. Like it's that unrealistic. It's not like I know it's not like a physical thing, but it's
Mhm.
so far away from being possible.
Mm.
Yet I do feel like it's something that I can continually improve on and I do have this dream of being in a chess tournament, and like just like an open chess tournament, like cities have them, and
You should
uh,
do it.
I
You have
think I would
nothing
get.
to lose.
I have nothing to lose except chess and all of my
Oh, stop.
except exactly. It's a side quest, so it's not a big of a deal. But anyway, side quest, chess. That's my answer.
Oh my, I didn't know this about you. I love this answer because we all get to learn more about Freddie
Hmm.
here. Wow, that's a good one. Like I've been trying to think of like the thing is that everything that I'm remotely good at, I've monetized in terms of this
Yes.
podcast, comedy, writing. This is the extent of my strengths. So any side quest for me would be learning a new strength
Mm.
and or learning a new skill or something to that effect. One thing I've been oh man, am I going to go okay, I'm going to go here I guess cuz it popped into my mind. So I I'm a perpetually single woman, okay? And I don't really date enough. Like I'm just a busy person. I don't put myself out there. I hate online dating. It feels like an admin job, like having to read and go through profiles and stuff. But I stumbled upon on social media this guy who is a dating coach. So it's not a matchmaking service. It's like it's more about like setting you up for like more successful dating, and then if you get into a more serious relationship, they help you navigate that as well.
Hmm.
And so I've been very intrigued by this. However, it's very expensive. The other thing I've been thinking about is the fact that last year when I was in Italy, I went on some very romantic dates. And
Mm.
the men here just don't serve the romance like they do in Italy. So something about this, something about like a date, like almost like a marathon of dates
Mm.
where I try to like really like it doesn't have to be sex, okay? But just getting some real romance out of these men.
I love this so much.
Something like I don't know the path. And if I knew the path, I'd probably be married, okay? I don't know the path exactly, but something around this would be my ultimate side quest.
See,
And I
I.
love that says a lot about me that I would consider marriage a side quest and not a main quest. Just gonna call myself out on that right now.
Well, it
But
says a lot about. First of all, Al Engelbert, hire us. Second of all, um, it says a lot about me that if you listen to this podcast a lot, you know probably what I'm about to say, which is this is why we play the game. This is an FFQ moment, okay? Side quest chess, and then side quest marriage,
marriage.
huge, okay? This is
It
why we
really
do it.
is a main quest. Maybe the dating is the side quest that
I
unlocks
think
a
it's.
main quest.
I think the
Because you
side
can
quest.
video
No,
games
yeah,
can do that. The side quest can unlock a main quest.
yes, exactly. I think the side quest is more
This
so
is
like
gonna be a
dating
therapy
coach.
session.
This is good shit. Anyways, uh, I don't even know if I've ever said this to our listeners, but or offered it up, but I actually would love to know anyone's side quest. Like,
Just in general.
let us know. DM us, like we get messages and stuff. So, um,
Please.
uh,
I would also love to know
like
this.
anyone that wants to shout out their side quest, like let me know because I would just love that. I love that so much.
None of our side quests had anything to do with basketball. Because for me, like, because I love the game so much, but I've never played it because I think I was just a girl in like a really sexist society. My
Hmm.
family unit, blah blah blah, and I just like was never encouraged to do sports. So like
Yeah.
that's always made me a little sad actually because I see these people like in leagues and stuff, and I wish I could get in on it, but I can't. Maybe I could coach at best, but
And I mean, you're also tall too, so like somebody fuck
I
you up.
know. Oh, they messed up on so many levels that we haven't even
You're like
gotten
five.
to the
You're like 5'10". You
I mean,
got
I'm 5'10".
good basketball size. So
Yeah, thank you. That should have been the real answer, but we got real. We got
yeah,
the real presented answer. So the fake that should have been the answer I told and not the
right.
one that I actually told.
No, the one you actually told was good shit. This is why we play the game. FFQ.
I love how we got that deep with a random topic, and it's like literally the playoffs. It's like the busiest time of year. Don Staley though was competing in cornball seriously against Shamar Moore, the
Amazing.
actor.
Cornball, by the way, hilarious.
It's so funny. So definitely
Cornhole.
check that. Cornhole, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not a part of this world.
I know,
Anyway.
but cornball just sounds funny.
And it's not even a ball, isn't it? Isn't it more of like a hacky sack?
Yeah, it's like a sack.
Yeah, it's not even a ball. So that's my bad. But anyway, look it up. It's really fun if you haven't seen it. Freddie, we should probably wrap it up there before this turns into a therapy session for me. Everyone, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. We appreciate you so much. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a positive review, leave a comment. Let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our thoughts in today's episode. Happy playoffs, everyone. Happy second round. Hope you're all enjoying it. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Amazing. Thanks, everybody. Peace.